All right, what's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We've got a 6-game slate to talk about and a lot of trades to react to. Nolan, how are you doing this afternoon?
What's happening? We should have a few changes, right? So you're gonna have to stay on top of things if you're setting your lineups tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of little things. Nothing super big, but definitely an edge to be had if you want to pay attention to line rushes of 4 games tonight. Maybe the last time in a while we're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, it's nice that this will be over soon enough where we won't be having to scramble before and during and after lock. So. Fun time of the year for sure, but I'm glad it's almost over, and we'll know mostly everything before the slate locks in the future.
Yes, we will.
What are you thinking about tonight? Or I guess, how'd your weekend go first?
Not too bad. I was close a couple times. Still a little bit of a slump. That Kane fade finally started to pay off the other game. Just couldn't put the right combo together, but in contention. First time the Kane fade has worked in a month, so be sending the bill to the Blackhawks. Other than that, just back at her with a pretty decent sized contest. You came close a couple times, eh?
Yeah, I was close on what was that? Saturday? Yeah. The goal Clef bomb.
The Hutton you had. I thought for sure you had that, man. Hutton and Clef bomb in first place.
The Leonard.
That's just garbage.
The Leonard shutout hurt, but I needed 1 point out of those two.
Yeah, like what?
Nothing.
Just nothing from them. Man, it sucks.
That's what happens.
Just a bad beat. You deserve better.
No, I mean, I'm sure I've had things go right for me in that same way. So
yeah,
it's just true. It's hard enough to get at the top there, and then for things to go your way to actually win first is a whole another thing. So gave myself a good shot to win, and that's really all you can ask for.
You need a little bit of luck, right?
Oh, for sure. Nolan was running away with the afternoon slate until Bernier imploded. That happened?
Yes. Yeah. I was in first for a while, but then those Pavelski goals came and it was done. So
yeah,
that was close.
Oh, yesterday. Yeah, I didn't have.
Yeah.
I played like one lineup on the afternoon yesterday. And
it was a fun slate yesterday. It's too bad that Dallas, but just losing Ben and Zugrel, I feel like I killed their momentum, but.
Hockey DFS uncashable. Well, I would disagree.
Uncashable?
Yeah, I think Nolan would probably disagree. So, all right. So with these trades, like we've got Nashville playing tonight. They made a couple deals. Oh, by the way, what's up, Llama? Toronto just made a deal. No Johansson anymore in New Jersey. Like, do you know if any of these guys are able to play tonight? The guys that got traded to teams that are on the slate to another team that's on the slate? Because that would be the only way they could accrue points.
I think we saw that one of the Nashville beat writers said there is next to no chance that Simon and Granlund would. The only one that looks, 100% that not 100%, I should say, because I don't know. But Derek Brassard, the Panthers are actually in Colorado. So there's a pretty strong likelihood that he could play tonight. I know that Daily Faceoff has him penciled in on the second line, which is kind of surprising. I think that's just guesswork there because the trade happened after their morning skate. So he's someone to consider. Everyone else is going. It's more about getting players out of your lineup than getting players in, right? So none of the players today that were traded, I don't think, anyways, are kind of like able to accrue points on their new teams anyways, right? Like Simmons and Granlund and Stone. So generally speaking, you just want to make sure if you're crunching or if you're looking, just make sure you're Xing out players. I'm just about to publish my list here. I'm just waiting for last minute trades to come through before I publish. Just got a list of players you're going to want to X out just to make sure you're on top of it. Sure. So as we go through the games, I'll just mention them. But
yeah, no, that's good. I see like the lines that I'm heavy on and stuff. There's not news. No. So like if you like Nashville one, if you like Colorado, Toronto, like you don't have to worry about their top 9 or anything. So that's nice. Got pretty lucky with a lot of that. And obviously Columbus isn't playing tonight, but Panarin wasn't traded. No Mark Stone on the slate regardless. So it kind of worked out okay. There's not a ton of news as far as like lines getting shifted that we're going to have to deal with tonight, I don't think.
Shaping up for a pretty fun playoffs with some of these teams loading up, eh? Like Nashville, Vegas,
Yeah, for sure. That's
Boston,
Nashville and Vegas for sure. San Jose, yeah, and then
Winnipeg. Like
obviously
this is
like Tampa too. So
Tampa. Once we get to the Final Four, it's gonna be fun.
yeah, should
Or
be
Final Four in each conference. Anyways.
playoff. Yeah, playoffs are always good, but
Yeah.
a bunch of good teams got better in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I agree.
should be good. We actually have a giveaway to talk about.
Nice.
So I don't know if you know this, Nolan, but it was
I
just
don't.
told to me today. So we're giving away a $200 NHL shop gift card. And to be eligible to win, you're gonna just tune into the show like you are already. If you're hearing this, you're already tuned in, and you're just gonna answer the question that we prompt to you. There's also another step. You have to like the video, and then you're gonna answer the question that we have in the chat after the video is over. So not in the live chat box right now, but for today, we're gonna do. What is your most memorable DFS moment? And this contest will go from today, February 25th, through March 4th. And I think we're going to announce on March 4th or March 5th who wins the $200 gift card. So pretty good deal.
What's your memorable moment?
Probably going to the live final. That was probably the best. Yeah, like the actual being at the live final. I don't know. It was just really cool.
Fun. Yeah, get to hang out with people.
Yeah, DraftKings put on a pretty good show.
I wouldn't be able to take it. I just have to leave the room.
Yeah,
Go get drunk and come back at 9:30.
I was surprisingly calm. So
yeah,
we're gonna have more questions like this, but the way you get entered into this, and it's just kind of a thank you to the people that watch the show, our show, Hit the Ice. You like the video, and then you're going to comment afterwards. What's your most memorable DFS moment? It could be about a sweat. It could be about a time you got lucky or whatever. Yeah, it can just be whatever you want. So open-ended question. You're going to comment in the comment box once the video is final, and you will gain entries into this contest for the $200 NHL shop gift card. So pretty cool. And, of course, free to enter. Just takes a few seconds of your time. So just kind of a thank you to you guys for being loyal watchers of the NHL Hit the Ice show.
Awesome.
So that is our promotion. I'll mention this at the end, too, in case we got some new viewers coming in over the course of the show. I see some people are already liking the video, so you're already through step 1. Step 2, obviously, will just be the comment once we're all done. All right. Any ownership spots on this slate today, Nolan, that you're seeing?
I'm actually I'm having a hard time figuring out where the ownership's going to go. I mean, I think Nashville will be popular. Colorado 1's going to be popular. The top 2 Toronto lines are going to be popular. Maybe like Vancouver 2 a little bit as well. And that's kind of, and I guess Tampa as well. Tampa will be popular. Tampa 2. So what's your take? You think Nashville 1 maybe the most owned line?
Tampa. I think Tampa 2, the point line.
2. Yeah.
And yeah, by the way, I see some people asking, don't comment now in the chat box right now. You're going to refresh the page once we're done. And then that's where you'll put your comment. So like just on any YouTube video. So not in the actual live chat box. Just to be perfectly clear. But yeah, Tampa 2, Nashville 1 for sure. Those guys reunited. Colorado for sure with McKinnon and Rantanen back together, and then probably Vancouver too. So I think I agree with you on all of those. Yes, the comment section, you will. Probably not going to see a ton of ownership. I didn't even mention Toronto. The teams with the big totals, I think, are going to see a lot of ownership. Yes. I don't think anybody's just going to go completely overlooked. It's going to be somewhat spread around. Maybe Nashville 1 and Tampa 2 are like the chalk of the chalk, but I don't think anybody's going to be at 40% like we had last night with Calgary.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very evenly spread out between these 5 or 6 lines that we've mentioned. You know, kind of in that 15 to 23 range.
Yeah. So I like slates like this size.
Yeah, that means you don't really have to worry about ownership. Just go with the plays you like, right?
Right. Just go heavy on the 1 or 2 or 3 plays you really like if you've got multiple lineups. Since this is a small slate, could you touch on some general roster construction strategy? All 3 from a line, 2 with the D, 3 with the D, double stacks. What would you say about that, Nolan? Does your strategy change on a 6-game slate?
I don't know. I've been pretty much just double stacking recently, so that's all I do. My strategy doesn't really change all that much. I think once the slates get a little bit smaller, I tend to go more towards the third and fourth lines of teams just to gain that leverage on some of the other spots. Especially if you get like a 2 or 3 game slate, then those deep down lines become a little bit more viable. On a slate of this size, you can probably dip down to some third lines, but I wouldn't go much past that.
Yep.
What about you?
Yeah, I almost never include fourth lines. Maybe a couple times throughout the season.
Or like if you get like Boston or the Islanders or one of these teams that uses the fourth line a lot on a short slate, then they're viable. Though like people have caught on to that of late, I think. So
Yep. And then I like to double stack. I almost always do that. This year, especially with MME, it's kind of a good way to go, or a good default to have. I'm not saying it's the only way, but it is a way that I've had success this season. You could certainly do the double defenseman stack, especially with guys like Yossi and Ellis, who play together at even strength a lot. And then I think they're also, maybe they're not on the power play together, but you get exposure to both power play units. You can always correlate your goalie. That's also a good default, along with the double D stack. And what's the other one? 2 with a D. I've kind of gotten away with that, maybe on shorter slates, but I think full stacking is the way I'm going to go once again tonight. Llama asks, what is the Josh stack? 6-man? Yeah, the 6-man. So I'll just build it for you right now.
Do we know?
Go ahead.
Do we know what the origin of that is? Like
Josh Harris, JRH002. Do you know him?
No.
So he's an online friend of mine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he came up with it. He won a GPP a couple of years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. He stacked the Blackhawks' top 2 lines. On like a big slate, and he took down a big GPP. So
that's awesome.
They called it the Josh stack. That was kind of before my time. So that is the origin of the Josh stack. He can correct me if he wants, or if I'm wrong. But that was my understanding of the Josh stack. So this would basically just be it. You stack both top lines, or you could do lines 2 and 3. You can take one of these guys off. Like if you don't like Zach Hyman, you can take off him and go with Morgan Riley. That gets really expensive, but if you wanted to go like Gardner or someone like that, and then you've got your 6-man stack, usually include the goalie with that as well. So there's your Josh stack. Interesting strategy, especially on shorter slates. Tonight, I don't think I'm gonna end up doing that, but on like 3 and 4 game slates, I'll definitely throw in a couple of a few different teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we want to get started on the games here.
Let's do it.
We don't have the implied totals updated just yet. I don't think Alex's rankings are out. I think Daily Faceoff is having some issues with just trade deadline, and they kind of crashed. So I think we'll get Alex's rankings at some point during the show. Hopefully, you can upload those. Up,
but I don't know. Are they not loaded? Like they're up on the main page.
Oh, they are. All right, let me do a quick refresh.
So I can just kind of go through the.
When were they updated last?
28 minutes.
Oh, that's weird. Who knows? That's all right. We can go without rankings, or I can refer to some. Buffalo Sabres and the Toronto Maple Leafs, 2.4 implied total for the Sabres, about 4.1 for the Leafs. Huge home total. Carter Hutton and Frederik Andersen in net for their teams. Do we have any notable changes here?
So a couple small changes. Buffalo traded Nathan Beaulieu to the Winnipeg Jets at the deadline, so he's out. I think that means Lawrence Pilut would draw in. He was not expected to suit up, so there's a bare min defense play if you need one. And then on the Leafs side, Par Lindholm got traded, so there's a spot opening on their 4th line, and I think that's it. We're not sure about Brandon Montour tonight. One of the Buffalo Beats said that it's unlikely he will play, so you're gonna have to watch line rushes for that one. And also, Okposo is going to suit up for the Sabres. It looks like on the 3rd line with Sabaka and Thompson.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to see Montour for this game. I think that would be interesting just to see him in maybe a more spotlighted role if he got to play with Ristolainen or Dahlin or someone like that. He's not playing, I think, is the last I saw. So I haven't seen anything that would sway that in any way. So we can safely assume he's out. You like defensemen against Toronto here. Ristolainen and Dahlin would be the 2 guys I would target. And then as far as full stacks go, I'm not really crazy about the Eichel line. I think if I'm going to a Buffalo stack, it's probably the 2nd line. good numbers so far in their short sample, and then they're probably going to get the better matchup against the Matthews line, as Tavares usually takes opposing top competition when the Leafs are at home. And I still think the Tavares line is fine, but I think I, in general, prefer the Matthews line. Cheaper. He's got real line mates now. Marlowe was not doing anything on Matthews' line, and now you put Andreas Janssen up there and Kapanen, and I think that's a really, really talented trio.
Yeah, Janssen's super underrated. Both those lines are definitely viable.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a strong lean to one of the Toronto lines, or are you kind of just splitting exposure there?
Yeah, I think I'm just splitting exposure. I think that Toronto's a little bit cheaper, right? So, is that right?
Yeah, Toronto 2's cheaper.
So, yeah, just splitting exposure. I'm not super high. Like, I think I'm just going to be a little bit underweight on Toronto tonight. Just looking at some of the team stats recently, like Buffalo's been doing a really good job defensively. They are, over the past 10 games, first in the entire NHL in scoring chances allowed per 60, which is surprising.
Yeah. No, that is surprising.
Yeah. So, and that's all strength. So that's including penalty kill and power play, and then they are allowing the fourth least high danger chances over the last 10 as well, or last 7 games, I should say. So I haven't looked at their quality of competition, but those are some good numbers.
So yeah, those are really good numbers. So you did all strengths. I wonder if that is due to them not taking a lot of penalties for the entire season. So you include all strengths, you're including 5-on-4 and 5-on-3 or whatever. So some teams can get weighed really heavily. So it might be a little bit. They might be a little bit worse defensively if you sort by 5-on-5, but they've been pretty disciplined.
I'm always worried, interested in the best way to do that though, because although that's true that if they're not taking a lot of penalties, then you should factor that in as well, right?
Exactly.
Like it's kind of like, do you factor it in or do you not? Like I don't know. So like it's an interesting point. I'm not entirely sure, but if they're not taking penalties, then you have to think that also would be a contributing factor.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, like the Leafs are just such a good 5-on-5 team. They're such a good team on the power play too. You get 3 viable lines, so I'm not really that worried about Buffalo. Huge total for the Leafs. So if this total was like 3.5 or 3.6, I would maybe raise my eyes a little bit more. But with the Leafs having a monster home total, I'm not all that worried about it. When I've watched Buffalo too lately, they've looked pretty bad in their own zone. So that's more of an eye thing, but
they're also it's goaltending with them too, right? Like I wouldn't rate Hutton or Allmark as like exceedingly good goaltenders, so it could be mitigated by that as well.
Yeah, Palm Skinner is sort of the same effect as Tatar Drouin for Montreal. Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Whereas like Tatar is kind of the guy you want to avoid for me. So if that's what you mean. But this second line for Buffalo has been pretty good offensively. I don't know how they're going to be able to contain the Matthews line, so that's why I like the Matthews line here. But for the most part, splitting exposure on the top 2 in Toronto. Morgan Riley's super, super expensive, and no shock, I'm not getting to a ton of him. Even though he is attempting a good amount of shots, he would be more of a spend-up to be contrarian guy. But the only reason I would want to play him would be to play the top power play guys for Toronto, and he'd be the guy that gets left off in that
as part of a 4-man stack or something.
Right.
Yeah, 6,800. Like that's like Brett Burns was priced at grand less than that for half the season. That's a shockingly high price, especially considering Buffalo does a pretty good job against opposing D. I'm not sure if that's like a scheme thing, if that's or what, but for whatever reason, they seem to limit opposing D points.
Buffalo does.
Yeah, like they're pretty bad against wingers.
That could be because they don't take a lot of penalties. So that's where you see a lot of these top defensemen get a lot of their points is power play assists and goals and shots on goal. So just a clear overprice for Riley for me. So not super interested in him. Got anything else on the goalies or anything in this game?
No. I think are you getting like I just was checking your projections out, like you're getting a lot of Buffalo too. Like I noticed they came up a lot for me when I crunched with your projections.
Yep, I'm getting a lot of. I mean, they're just a good price. I think Reinhart brings that up. He's been shooting like a madman lately and creating a lot of chances. And then the other 2 guys are just cheap. So way in the even strength matchup.
they rate out well as like in terms of lines with more than 20 minutes on the slate. They're about fifth best in chance generation, high danger, and scoring chance generation. So yeah, I kind of like that play as well because it's not going to be owned.
All right, let's go on to Montreal and New Jersey. Looks like the implied totals here are 3.2 to Montreal, 2.8 for New Jersey, somewhere in there. Carey Price and Corey Schneider expected to go here. Any news and notes?
Okay, just give me one sec here. So yeah, New Jersey, Johansson, we weren't expecting him to play, but he's out anyways because he's been traded to the Bruins. On the Montreal side, Drouin is a go tonight, and it looks like he'll be on his usual spot on the top line with Danault and Gallagher. He's listed as day-to-day on DraftKings, so we might be in that similar situation where you can get the same situation we were in with Danault the other day, where you can get that line at a little bit lower ownership than normal, if that's your thing. I think that's it for line changes.
Did you get Jesper Bratt being out?
I did not.
So he was announced out this morning. Kind of got lost in the shuffle of all the trade talk, but yeah, he's out.
I should say apologies. I'm a little behind today on like notes and stuff, so
that's understandable.
Lot to keep track of here. So yeah, I'm just gonna make a note of that. Yep. And line changes article will go out just after we finish this show.
All right, perfect. That'll be perfect. People will have.
So it's Bratt with what are the Devils' lines then there?
That's the question too. So we don't know who's going to slot in for or next to Hischier and Palmieri. That's kind of the question here. I would expect Zajac, Wood, and Coleman to stay together. At least that's how I have it. And I do kind of like that line, so I'm hoping they stay together. But it could be anyone on that top line with Hischier and Palmieri, assuming they just keep those, keep everyone where they're at and just fill in Johansson's spot. So this is one.
The good news is we have Amanda Stein, so
that's true. She's the best.
We're guaranteed to know.
She is the best. Yep, best handwriting too. She's just got it all. So she'll hook us up with the lines for sure. Bratt being out, he was listed on the top power play, so maybe you move up Wood or maybe Coleman gets power play time. I don't exactly know what they're gonna do. It obviously could be Stafford or Joey Anderson. You just never really know with the Devils. But
so you think they'll keep that Zajac, Wood, Coleman line together?
I do. This is a line they've liked to use in the shutdown role. They haven't been that great as of late, but for me, they're just super cheap, and they still, like season to date, they still have good numbers as far as shots for, shots against. And they're going to match up against Danault, Drouin, and Gallagher, with Drouin being back. So that line gives up over 15 high danger chances against per 60 in a pretty decent sample. So give me the Zajac line, super, super cheap and a good even strength matchup, and maybe a boost to the power play time with Wood and Coleman.
Sorry, you're talking about the matchup with Montreal 1 there?
Yeah, Danault,
is that right?
Drouin, and Gallagher.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good to know. Yeah, 15.62 high danger chances.
Yeah.
Not that's like of any sample in the slate, that's like 4 more high danger chances than anyone with any kind of decent sample. So hard not to like that if you think they're going to hard match there.
Yeah, for sure. NHL.com has Miles Wood listed on the top line.
I don't think that's right, because I was just looking at Amanda Stein's Twitter feed, and Johansson was up there on the top line this morning, and Wood, Zajac, Coleman was together. So she says she won't know until line rushes. So I'd expect that to be.
Yep, I would not expect that to be the case. Although you'll know a half an hour before the game because we do have Amanda Stein. So are you interested in Hischier, Palmieri, and whoever else they skate with?
I don't know. Their numbers. I didn't look at the Hischier Palmieri numbers together, but their numbers as a unit with Bratt have been pretty bad, eh?
Yeah, really bad.
So I was kind of off them a little bit. Yeah, but I think I would just actually prefer to take the price discount on that second line, but maybe like 1 or 2 shares of them if I don't know, 5% ownership, something like that.
I'm getting to a little bit of both of the Montreal line, both of the top two. But the Hischier-Palmieri combo just hasn't been great at even strength without Taylor Hall. So if they're going to go up against Domi, Tatar, and Shaw, I think that's a perfectly fine play. All those guys getting power play time. And the Devils has just been kind of bad at even strength. So
like the problem with Hischier and Palmieri is they're just too expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, maybe if they play with Joey Anderson or Senny or someone min salary, they could they could come down in price and pop as a better value. But
yeah, give me the $300 for Pettersson. I'll take Pettersson Besser instead.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I think most people would, myself included. So this one's going to be mostly about the Zajac line, and then maybe some fillers of both the Danault and Domi lines. I'm not taking a huge stand on Montreal tonight. Just kind of filling them in where it's necessary to get to the exposures I want. And you've got a bunch of defensemen in play for Montreal. Petrie, Weber, Mike Riley's forever under 3K. And I don't really want much on the Devils. Even Severson at 4,700 getting top power play time.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe like Victor Mete at Bearman, or you just X him off?
No, I usually X him off. He doesn't do anything.
Sure. Yeah. What are you gonna play if Fantenberg's out?
I know, right? My boy Oscar Fantenberg. That's all right. I'll figure out another guy to play. I'm pretty sure we've got a 3K man in Vancouver that you might be interested in. Name of Troy. But we'll get to him.
I could do without his 1.5 points tonight. I think he might have been right all along. No, he's still a good move. I like him.
Yeah, I'd just play Riley over Mete at 2,700 rather than 2,600. So.
Yeah, Stetcher's minutes way down last game too, right? I don't know if that was because of poor play or if that was because of they were just getting shelled. But
maybe they just had to showcase Gudbranson before they shipped him off.
He's so terrible. So terrible.
Yeah, really bad. So congrats to Pittsburgh.
Happy about that.
Yeah. All right, ready to move on from this one?
Yes.
All right, should be a very fun one here. I believe the totals are wrong that you guys are seeing. I think it's Kings with a 2 implied total, around 2, and Tampa with about 4. I'm going to look at another place real quick, but should be a one-sided affair here for Tampa, one of the best teams in the league going up against one of the worst. The special teams matchup is the best on the slate by a very wide margin. Tampa, I was looking at just season power play numbers. They're over 3% more, a 3% better success rate on the power play than the second best team in Boston, which is pretty crazy. They're up near 30%. I'm sure it's even better at home. I didn't look at home road splits. And then the Kings just can't kill penalties to save their life, and they just don't have much talent on their roster. So,
and then you lose Fantenberg, and you've got Martinez out as well. So, like, their defense score is so depleted right now that, I have a hard time thinking that they're going to win this game. So, like, Vasilevsky makes for a great play, and like Tampa's going to be popular regardless. But I can't get away from them tonight.
Yeah, neither can I actually. For the first time in quite a while, so maybe sound the alarms. I have been the Tampa cooler, but it's really hard.
Jeff Watts has been on them the whole time, right?
I know. It's really hard to not like Tampa here. Obviously, the huge total, but you like kind of dig into the matchups. Kopitar line hasn't been the same. We've been saying that for a few weeks now. Stamkos playing with really cheap line mates, and then going to get the Carter Lewis Kovalchuk line. The Kempe line, I think, actually has pretty decent numbers with Lipsick and Toffoli. But they're going to go up against some Tampa 3, and then the Stamkos line too. I'm assuming Point goes up against Kopitar. Give me the Point line all day. Plus, you got top power play time for Point and Kucherov. So it's just a really tough matchup to beat. It's just going to be a question of ownership. Yes, these Tampa lines are confirmed, actually. They skated, yesterday, and then didn't skate this morning. But these were the lines from yesterday's skate, I believe. Is that right, Nolan?
Yeah, I think you mean Killorn being up on the top line? Yeah, I think that was in yesterday as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so, like, does it worry you at all? Like, are you just, like, is power play? Because, like, both LA1 and LA3 have been pretty good at limiting chances, right? Like, it's not, they're not great, but they're good. Does that make you question that your Tampa ownership at all, or is this mainly like a penalty power play matchup for you?
It's just so I think they have the advantage at even strength, which is obviously what you'd want for paying up for Point and Kucherov, and I'm okay at those prices if they've got a good even strength matchup and then just the nut power play matchup too. So it's just kind of a slam dunk. Like, it's just whether or not you can afford them for me, and I have been able to afford them when doing my first few crunches today. So I have no problem playing 15-20% of them if you can get to it. If you want to get to more and make a big stand, I don't even think that's a bad idea, because Tampa's power play is just so lethal, and Point and Kucherov are huge parts of it. Obviously Stamkos as well. But yeah, give me the line with two guys that are big parts of the top power play over the Stamkos line. Obviously different price ranges, but you kind of get the point.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Any interest in the LA side of things? Like, Doughty going to play 40 minutes tonight, or?
So yeah, okay, yeah. So as far as lines go, I don't know. I'd probably pass on playing any stacks here for the Kings. There was some talk about LA1 this morning that I heard.
Kopitar 4,300.
He's not doing
Brown
anything.
3,900.
Yeah, he's not.
But that's like, I'll take them over Tampa 3.
I wouldn't. Give me Tampa 3.
Really?
Yeah, give me Tampa 3.
Come on.
Tampa 3's good. Cirelli and Miller are really good. And then you get Palat in the top power play. Like, they're cheap too. They're cheaper, I think. Just doing some quick mental math there. They're cheaper, and they're on the better team, and they're going to see Kempe line. They're going to see the fourth line for the Kings. They're going to see some of the Carter line. I don't know. There's just nothing that's pointing me outside of them being cheap for the Kings 1. They're giving me no reason to want to play them at all this year. So, I'm not just going to play a line that I don't think is very good just because they're cheap. I think that's just what everyone's going to do, and people are just going to do that.
They're going to take LA1?
Yeah. Because they came up a little bit for me because they're just dirt cheap. And if you use any sort of numbers from last year, Kopitar and Brown were okay. And then IFL is playable at 3,500. So, I don't think you're going to get them at 1% or 2%. They're going to be 5 or 6 or 7%. And I'd rather just allocate that ownership elsewhere to a Tampa 3 or someone else like that.
Interesting.
I just don't know how the Kings don't get smashed here. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Boom. There were actually a couple things I wanted to address in chat. FC is a fish product. I disagree, but to each his own. I'm just going to pray FC has the right lines. Anti-Crime Dog, if that's you, yeah, you're a good player. So Anti-Crime Dog uses FC, so why not everyone use FC? And yes, Anti-Crime Dog, this is Osmo.com. This is our lineup builder. Right on the site, you can just go on Osmo.com, go to the lineup builder tab, click on click on the NHL version, and you'll see this page. You can sort by DraftKings and FanDuel. You can make lineups, export them, all the normal stuff that you can do elsewhere, but you just have all the information in one page, including Osmo's rankings right here.
So one of the things I like, because I started crunching the last week, and I've always been a hand builder, one of the things I like about it is it kind of removes some of your personal biases, because I know we all have those lines where I'm always prone to play certain lines because I just like them more, whether it's the Jets or I have a personal bias probably against the Blackhawks, so as noted, or maybe that's just the stats telling it. But when you use projections and you crunch that, it kind of gets rid of those and sort of allows the numbers to do the talking, right, which I think is not a bad thing sometimes. Or you could at least try and experiment and do half your lineups hand build and half with the cruncher, you know, or try and. It's a different way of doing things for sure. But so far the results haven't been great, but that's partly because I am new at it, and I think it's worth giving a try for a bit.
Oh, okay. Eddie says lines have been updated on the lineup builder. Oh, okay. So this is the correct line then, on Tampa, or does he mean the forward lines? I don't know. Either way, these lines are correct on Tampa. I did see these yesterday, so those will be your Tampa lines unless something changes. Are we done talking about the Kings and the Lightning here? Or do you got anything else you want to mention? Any defensemen?
No. Are you gonna like have any Hedman at all? I know he doesn't rate out very well for you.
I probably will. I would probably like if I'm doing any 4-man stacks, Hedman is just the clear guy to go with Point and Kucherov and Johnson. The issue with that is it gets really expensive really fast. But we do have a couple guys like Riley, who we just mentioned, who's okay. There's ways to get to the full Tampa power play stack, I think. So Hedman can certainly be included in that.
Yeah. Cheap flyers on LA? D-wise?
No Fontenberg, so what are we going to do?
What about Forbert?
He always plays minutes, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like all of a sudden Forbert is min-salary and going from 16 minutes to 23. He's always playing 19, 20 minutes, so he just never really does much for me.
There just isn't a lot of, like, offensive upside. Like, maybe is Paul Ledoux in?
Yeah, I think he's going to be in.
Yeah, so he'd probably step in for Vandenberg. Like, I think he's like deep. Yeah, nah. Sorry.
It's just I don't know. Just pay the extra couple $100, I would think, and get a better player. So, like, I just can't imagine a scenario in which the Kings are the reason someone has GPP success as far as a stack tonight. Like, I would be very, very surprised. So, who knows? Maybe I'll eat my words and LA1 will bank everything. But I will lose all my money then. So I'm pretty comfortable fading LA here. What about... Oh, yeah. We mentioned everything we need to. McDonough, I mean, if you want to for 4K, that's a pretty good price for him. No other defenseman on Tampa for me. Oilers and Predators, we've got a 2.3 implied total for the Oilers, 3.2 for the Preds. Mikko Koskinen going up against Pekka Rinne. Neither of these guys confirmed just yet. Nashville made like 30 trades today. So tell us about them, Nolan.
Yeah, so Ryan Hartman dealt to the Flyers for Wayne Simmons. Was there was a pick in there too, right?
I think it was like a third or fourth. I can't remember.
Interesting deal. I kind of feel like that's a bit of a bargain for Nashville. Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know. And then Fiala straight up for Granlund, which also, like, Fiala's getting older and he's regressed a little bit. I think that's actually, like, thinking about it a little bit, that's a pretty good deal for Nashville as well. You were expecting a pick to be involved, but...
So, yeah, Granlund's already a good player. Like, Fiala definitely has potential, but, like, they had Granlund in a pretty decent contract for next year, too. So, I don't know. The Wild clearly pushed the panic button, which is weird. Fiala's 22, by the way. 22,
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what's Granlund, 26?
He's not that old. Yeah, 26, 27. So, I mean, whatever. As far as DFS goes tonight, this doesn't really affect me. I wasn't really on the tourist line. Who knows if Granlund and or Simmons is playing tonight. But if I can't really stack the whole line, and you're not going to be able to if either one of those guys plays on the second line, then I'm probably just not going to play it. So it's Nashville 1 and a lot of it for me here.
Nashville 1 or bust, yeah. I mean, definitely keep an eye on it. I'm just going to assume that Nashville 1 stays together tonight with all these changes.
They skated this morning.
What's that?
They skated together this morning. So.
Yeah, so I haven't had a chance to look at who's coming in for Nashville. But, yeah, Fiala's going to be out. We won't know what the exact lines are until the pregame skates. But, man, long-term, Nashville.
Yeah.
Kind of like that team right now.
Nashville's so good.
And I read somewhere that PK Subban, if I'm remembering, PK Subban's going to be a game-time decision as well. So if he ends up not going, I think you can upgrade Roman Josi. He'll probably get more minutes. Yeah, I like Nashville 1 a lot here. I'm sure you do too. You wrote them up in your article. 19 high danger chances, 4 per 60, which is far and away the best on this slate for any kind of minutes, except for maybe Florida 1, which is crazy. And then so full power play correlation as well. Good matchup. What are your thoughts? Just all Nashville 1?
Yeah, Nashville 1. I actually don't even know if they're going to all play in the power play together, but this trio is so good at even strength. Like you mentioned, 19 high danger chances, upwards of 40 scoring chances per 60. Like, these are outrageous numbers. Like, you do not see these for any sustained period of time. 80 shot attempts per 60. So it's even strength here, and then I think they're grossly underpriced too. Don't fade Johansson. People don't intentionally fade Johansson just because he doesn't score a lot of goals. He's 5,400, and Forsberg and Arvidsson are affordable based on this matchup.
If you're going to do the 2-man stack, I think it's better to not leave the center off. I think you leave a winger off generally. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Johansson is still a distributor on the power play too, and you're not even playing. The thing is, for me, you're not even playing Nashville 1 here for the power play matchup. They haven't had a good power play all year. That's why they got Brian Boyle. That's why they got Wayne Simmons as well, and Granlund too.
So weird.
But they're just so good. And then, if there's anyone that could jumpstart their power play here, Edmonton, I think 3rd worst kill in the NHL. So they just have a ton of issues, and then they don't have their best player either. So I don't know, how are they even going to get the puck in the zone here?
It should be a blowout tonight. It really should.
They should Nashville 1 should have 20 shot attempts at even strength tonight if they play 13 or 14 minutes at even strength. I just don't understand how they don't. So.
And sorry, I was wrong there. We don't know about full power play 1 correlation. They didn't do it last game, but with so much in flux, we're probably not going to know. So it just is what it is.
Jake only had 25% jumbo at 5,300. Oh, God, you guys are so disrespectful to Johansson. He can score. He's not jumbo. Joe Thornton, for people that don't know. That is a completely different play. So, good troll, but, yeah. Play Johansson is my take. I know, super hot take. Play the $5,400 guy on the best line of the night. But, yep, that's what you should do, I believe, if you're playing multiple lineups. Yossi Ellis, and yeah, that's really about it for me. What about you?
Yeah, I like Yossi a lot. I think I'm going to have him both in 4-man stacks and just as a one-off defenseman. Always one of my favorite one-off plays. So lots of Yossi tonight. Edmonton giving up 23rd most points to defensemen this year. Bad penalty kill. What's not to like, especially if Subban's out.
Sort of a hot take with playing with the E value. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. That could also be a typo, or a technical error. Also, because the last time I looked on FC, which is what Alex goes by for his rankings, they didn't have Johansson on a line, so it could have just been that. I mean, who knows though? I'm still not worried about the E value. So 3 assists is just fine for 5,400 too.
What when you say you're super on in line like that, what kind of exposure percent are you approximately at?
25, 30, somewhere in there. They're going to be my number 1 exposed line of the night. I don't really care for the chalk. I just betting on a lot of the field not stacking correctly. Maybe people leave off Johansson. I just hope the full line gets there and I have more than the field, which I'm pretty comfortable I'm going to tonight.
And of those 25%, how much will you use Yossi with them?
I'm not going to intentionally force him in, but he does grade out well. So probably 60, 70, 80%, somewhere in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I like it.
How much do you think Osmo's rankings adjust for McDavid being out? Well, he does work in Vegas. So if McDavid was in this game, maybe the total's up to, I'm not a gambling expert by any means, but maybe the total is at 2.5 or 2.6. So everyone on Edmonton's offense would get a reduction in production is how I assume he does it. So
it's all and it's going to be a lot of it's going to be tied to Vegas. I think the Vegas goals, so it would be built in, if not purposefully, then just sort of as a part of the projection, right?
Yeah. What about any defenseman on Vegas? Or Vegas?
On Nashville?
Edmonton. Sorry.
I'm gonna go with the Clefbaum Hutton stack and just make all the money. So that's
There's just multiple goals from Clefbaum coming. There's just no way around it.
Clefbaum 0 shots last game. 0.
Yeah, that was just the tiltiest game ever. I thought he was hurt for a while.
Clefbaum, Nurse's price is way down. He's still getting the power play 1 time, I think, right? So
I think you could actually play Russell and or Larson if you're in that range.
Shot blocking?
Just shot blocking. I think Nashville's going to dominate possession, but those guys are willing to stick their noses in there and, block 5 or 6 or 8 shots in a game. So just for floor plays, if that's the last guy in, I think either of those two are fine. Clefbaum and Nurse are just kind of whatever plays for me. I don't have a strong take on either one of those guys. Anything else?
No. I'm hoping my internet's not going down here. You're breaking up on me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. So
okay, good.
Hopefully the audience.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna have some Rene and some Nashville 1 stacks, and like I might. I think another strategy here is just to wait and see what the lines are, because no one's gonna have any Nashville 2 or Nashville 3. So if something happens and you get, I mean, it's not really appealing because there's not a lot of talent right there without Simmons and Granlund, but maybe like as a filler stack, maybe Nashville 2, Nashville 2 really. So whatever the tourist line is.
Yeah, if those guys don't play, I think that's probably fine. Edmonton's trash. Florida and Colorado, 3 implied total for the Panthers, 3.6 for the Avs. Roberto Luongo, I think, is supposed to go tonight against Semyon Varlamov. I don't know why Luongo is not confirmed, but talk about the news and notes from this one.
Yeah, so Derek Brassard acquired by the Avs from the Panthers, so we don't know if he's going to suit up. We're assuming that he is. I think that Daily Faceoff has him on the second line, but I think that's just a guess. We'll have to wait for line rushes again. On the Florida side, it looks like Malgin is out, and so is Mike Matheson. Malgin, no word yet on who would replace him on the third line or how that would go. I would expect them to just have their same 2 forward combos from their top 6, which is probably all you need to worry about unless you want to get some Hoffman in. And that's, I think, it for these ones. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Rantanen back with McKinnon. Not exactly sure how lines are going to go here. So, of course, be around your computer if you're playing a lot of Colorado. I would guess the top line sticks together. They went to that line in Nashville last game and they won 5-0 on the road, shockingly. Right? They played the whole line, the whole game together. So I would assume coaches would, stick to what just won them a game that they probably shouldn't have won. And so, yeah, I think that line is probably pretty safe. Who knows where Brassard slots in? I think it's mostly about Colorado 1 here on the Colorado side. And then I like Barkov, Huberdeau, and Vatrano. Let's see what's going on here. Nolan, are you there? All right, Nolan is not here. Oh, there he is.
Hey, back.
All right.
I don't know what happened.
I can hear you, but you're not moving, which is fine. We'll just
Hang
keep
on.
going. Yeah.
But bam.
Still can't see you moving. That's all right. So I was just talking about Colorado 1. I do like Florida 1 as well. Just power play against Colorado. Yep. They don't kill them off particularly well. And then Barkov, Huberdeau on the top power play. They also take a million penalties as well. So Barkov, Huberdeau, Vatrano.
Yeah, that line, did you already go over? Their high danger chances and scoring chances are pretty strong, as a unit for the past since they've been put together.
Yep.
Are you buying into that? Are you going to roster some of them tonight?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I was just kind of talking about them a little bit when you were in and out there for a sec. But, yeah, Florida 1 plus the power play. So they're the only line with 2 guys on the top power play. So,
yeah,
pretty easy to default to them in Vatrano under 5K as well.
And then also looking at the Colorado 1 numbers, underlying numbers really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you buy into that in such a small sample size, or are you...
Let me check on that one quick. Because
they have, in 23 minutes, they're averaging 8 high danger chances for and 27 scoring chances for.
I wouldn't expect them to be great defensively. Like McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog weren't great defensively.
Defensively, they're the worst line on the slate.
Yeah, so that's a little short of a sample for me to start, making judgments about them as a whole. But yeah, it doesn't hurt. Like,
what sample do you look for normally? Like, what's your minimum?
60 minutes to you'd like to get up to 100, but by that time, by the time you get to 100 minutes, that's like 6 or 7 games for some lines, and then everybody already knows they're good. So I'm more willing to jump on when I do see stuff like that in 30 minutes, in 40 minutes, stuff like that. And I'll, make a stand, and, maybe this all of a sudden becomes a line like Nashville 1 that's putting up 75 shot attempts per 60. But I want to be on that kind of line first. So no issue with playing Florida 1 here. That's just kind of the cherry on top. Anything else in this one that you're looking at? Carl Soderberg, Matt Calvert, JT Comfort?
No,
So
not much. Tyson Barrie coming up a lot.
yeah, Tyson Barrie. He's one of my better values on the night. Worrisome that Osmo only has him as a D value, but we're gonna agree to disagree there. It looks like I think his minutes are somewhat safe, 20 plus, even though he only played a little over 18 last game. Good power play matchup here for Colorado. They still have one of the best power plays in the NHL, and he's playing on the top unit with McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog. So I think there are a lot worse plays for 5,200 than Tyson Barrie tonight.
Sorry, I might have missed it. Are you expecting like Colorado 1 to go up against Florida 1, or are there any hard matching notes
I'm not
here?
exactly sure. Depending on where Brassard's at, if Soderberg and Landeskog are together, I'd probably say that line goes up against Barkov. I just don't know, but I think both teams are going to be able to generate offense here. So I'm just kind of taking the best spots here.
Right.
Or what I believe to be the best players, the best lines.
Yeah, sounds good. I kind of I feel like Colorado's coming on a little bit, and so I feel like you can get both sides of this game, like the Barkov line a lot, just because those numbers, they're also hot right now. And then Varlamov also kind of killing it, so he might be the X factor. Just 3 straight wins for him. His save percentage is up. He's just always been a streaky goalie, so maybe he's getting hot at the right time. I don't mind pairing him up with some Colorado stacks because I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership tonight.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. I think that's really all I have in this game. Are you looking at the Trocheck line or any of these other secondary lines?
Yeah, they just haven't been doing a lot, so I don't know. Like, they're always cheap and they always grade out well, but I'll probably have like a couple shares of that line. But the problem is that once with Jace Howard on it, it weakens it a little bit. He is on the ice with them. Some games he only gets 10 minutes. Some games he's gotten like 20. I guess he's only been up there for a few games, but just kind of I think that weakens the second line a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's cheap, and I don't know. Their numbers together haven't been great as well. So
yeah,
or have they? They've been good, I guess. They have been, right?
They're not a heavy target of mine tonight. All right, so
decent price. Like you can fit them in, but
yeah. Someone in chat said, "Oh, Eric S. Loyal viewer of the show says Tyson Barrie never does anything." I mean, I would be more along the lines of where Bryce is at. Barrie is a DFS beast. I don't know. He's not Patrick Nemeth or Brent Burns or someone like that, but he's very good for DFS. And when he's 5,200 in a favorable matchup, kind of hard to not play him here, in my opinion. So. He's also attempting the third most. He's attempted the third most individual shot attempts of any defenseman over any player's last 20 games, behind Burns and Giordano. So in pretty good company, attempting about 7 shots per game. So that's exactly what you want for 5,200.
7 shots per game? Did you say?
He's attempting 7 shots per game.
Attempting. Okay. So. Mark Pysyk, 2,500.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Ekblad's cheap.
Ekblad is cheap. And then Yandel. So I don't know what's the deal with Yandel on DK. Like, he always gets priced up whenever he has even kind of a good matchup.
Unless he's 2,500.
And, his value is tied into the power play, too. So it's a good, Colorado takes a bunch of penalties and such. But it's hard for me to play Yandel without playing one of the top 2 lines for Florida, and he's just not that great of a value for me. All right, ready to move on to the last one?
Fair. Yeah, absolutely.
Anaheim and Vancouver, we have a 2.4 implied total for the Ducks, 2.9 for the Canucks. Could be Ryan Miller, could be Kevin Boyle for the Ducks. Jacob Markstrom expected to go for Vancouver. Anything new here?
Yeah, so one late change that we saw, I don't know, it wasn't updated on the sites, I don't think. Goldobin's with Pettersson and Besser, and Spooner is up with Horvat. So that was a recent additional card. I think that makes Vancouver 2 stronger. Spooner has not been good with them, and Goldobin's still like the 4th leading scorer on the Canucks or something, even though he's only plays half the games and is in the doghouse constantly. So some offensive upside there. On the Canucks side as well for defense, I think Luke Schenn will draw in for Goodbranson. So not much there, not much interest. And then Delzato out for the Ducks. I think it's like Luke Witkowski and Andy Walensky or something. Like it's not pretty. So yeah, maybe upgrade Hampus Lindholm a little bit. You might see some more ice time. Ducks have been a little better, I noted in Slat, since their coaching changed, since Carlisle was fired. They're top 10 in the NHL in defensive metrics like scoring chances against and high danger chances against. So perhaps they're regressing a little bit from that horrible stretch that they've had for, two different stretches really all season, that they've been the worst defensive team in the NHL.
Yeah, so I think I do agree. They've been better for sure. Like last 10, you look at it, they're bottom third in the NHL as far as allowing high danger chances, or at least bottom half at 5-on-5. I just, like, they're like Edmonton for me. Where are they going to generate offense if there's no Getzlaf? So did you say that Getzlaf is out? He wasn't skating this morning.
Yes, Getzlaf's out. He didn't skate. Out. So it's not that he's 100%, but he's definitely supposed to be. Sorry, and I missed the D here. Sorry, it's Brendan Gooley, Corbin Holzer, and Jacob Menga looks like will round out the bottom six for the Ducks, which is pretty weak. Some pretty weak defense cores on both these teams.
Yeah,
it's an ugly game.
Yeah, for sure. So I think what that does here, and if you don't really like anything here, I think if nothing else, you should have exposure to a few defensemen if you're multi-entering. Hutton, Stetcher for Vancouver for sure. Those guys are just too cheap and playing 1 million minutes. If they can somehow get on the score sheet, then it's just extra. But they're going to rack up a few points here and there just by being on the ice, unless this game's somehow 1-0. But also Fowler is going to play 1 million minutes. Lindholm, too. Lindholm probably gets on the power play with no Brendan Montour as well. Looks like Daily Faceoff has him slotted in on the second power play. I think I would agree with that.
And he's cheap.
Yeah.
And he blocks shots, and he just kind of does a little bit of everything. He's sort of like a pretty good baseline play,
Yep. Same, yeah. So there's a bunch of those guys around the 4K and even the 3K with Stetcher. Pettersson.
Another advantage. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Pettersson, Besser, and Goldobin, I think it's going to be somewhat popular. I get it, though. They're not going to face Raquel and Perry. There's just no depth here for Anaheim. They become worse defensively with Getzlaf out as well. I like the top 6 here for Vancouver and basically nothing as far as forwards go for the Ducks. So.
Yeah. That as a player, but I just his line mates are awful, and so looks like he's kind of getting some decent shares in crunches because I think probably because Horvat's projection is so high, and he's priced really well. One note for Anaheim: Derek Grant did start that game with on the top line, but Sam Steele took over partway through, so that could happen again. I don't know if those lines have been updated or what's going on with them. Maybe they'll just go back to Grant and switch it up, but something to consider. And then the other note is Miller actually left practice early. I think he's got an injury, so it's probably going to be Boyle, 50-50. I don't know, but there's another way to gain leverage if you're looking for a late swap. No one is going to have Miller or Boyle with them not being in there. So if you've got a late goalie option and you're, I don't know, it might make sense to put Boyle in, but it's not a great matchup. But the Canucks aren't great either, so it's kind of a tough call.
Yeah, man, this one's mostly going to be Vancouver for me. And if people bank with the Ducks, they can have that one. I couldn't tell you who to play on Anaheim outside of the defensemen that are going to play 1,000 minutes in Fowler and Lindholm here. So those
Pettersson and Besser are just due too. They're due.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they've been pretty good with Goldobin on that line.
Yeah.
I think they have pretty good numbers. So, yeah, I think just
it's
playing kind of the obvious team here. So, all right, we're going to get out of here. I think our connection's cutting up pretty bad, so hopefully you guys aren't getting the worst of it. But just want to mention this giveaway we're doing, $200 NHL Shop gift card we are giving away as kind of a thank you for loyal viewers of the NHL Hit the Ice show, this show that you're watching right now. It's from February 25th to through March 4th, and today the way you get entered into it is, well, you're going to type your most memorable DFS moment in the chat box once you refresh the page. Once we go offline. And then the other thing you have to do is just like the show. It's super easy to do. You can like it right now and then wait to comment until after we are no longer online. Again, just kind of a thank you to people that have watched us all year. And $200 gift card. NHL Shop, you can get some gear if you do end up winning it. It's a pretty good deal for free. So just a couple minutes of your time, and hopefully you get to take advantage of the $200. So any last words for the people, Nolan, if they can hear you?
Am I breaking up? Sorry. No, I think we hit all the bases. Just again, this is gonna be the last night in a while. You're really gonna need to be around your lineups if you're playing any of the depth lines tonight. There's probably gonna be some advantages to be had just from checking in beforehand.
Yep. Stay up to date on stuff. Llama, I got you. I will rig it for you. Good luck tonight, guys.